volume check to see if we can hear you all the way in the back. Great. Awesome. Got some jazz music. Turn that down. Yes, Sally. All right. This is baby Donnie. I'm about 4 years old, just about to be 5 in this picture. And in this exact soccer season right here, this precise soccer season, I was out on the field in practice, and the field started to shake. Quickly and violently, as if God were taking a beach towel and waving it, the grass started to wave and sign its way. And I'm on one side of the field, and my dad's clearly on the other side, way on the other side. And I just see him go up and down. And he's protecting all the other little 4 and 5 years. He's letting everybody in. Needless to say, this is my first memory, and it's etched in my head, in my heart. It is deeply rooted in my past. It was 1989. I'm from the Bay Area. I thought you know that. Something called the Loma Prieta earthquake. You guys heard of that earthquake?
Yes.
The Loma Prieta earthquake. Yeah, it was pretty tragic. It completely wrecked our community. Now, as a youngster, I don't remember all that went into it, but recently I watched a documentary with my wife about the Bay Bridge series, the World Series with the Giants in Hayes in 1989 during that time. And it talked about the Loma Prieta earthquake, and it brought back flooding memories of that time. And one of the memories that I had, of course, was the fear of the overall event, but then the aftermath. What happened after? There was friends and family that talked about the big ones for years, right? The big one. When's the next big one going to happen? A couple of people just kind of thought, no, that'll never happen. Ever again. The biggest one happened and it won't happen. All the way to the other extreme, where people moved out of California. They were getting out of Dodge. They're like, not doing that. Right? Out of fear and trepidation, they were gone. Just completely gone. Then there was the majority. The majority of the people stayed. They rebuilt their homes, and they started to prepare for the next one. They fortified their foundations. They stockpiled on non-perishable food, right? And they got prepared. As we age, as we get older, it's not earthquakes that we're really worried about, especially here in the Midwest, but we are worried about the next big one, right? The next big fall. The next big fall. That's usually what we are fearful of. We are worried about is the fall, the next big fall. And tonight, my job, my goal is not to scare you about that next big fall. But it's also not to sell you anything. I'm not here to try to sell you anything, especially not false hope. I don't want to sell you any false hope. What I want to do is I want to do my best using the education information that I have to help prepare you. I want to encourage and motivate you through strength and through balance to be prepared. Sound good? So that's what tonight's all about. When we look at reality, the reality is that 25% of adults over the age of 65 fall every year. Another reality is this, is that after the age of 40, some research suggests that 35 years old, we lose muscle mass at a rate of 1 to 3% every year. That's aging for you. Here's the good news. The good news is that you can fight against it. You absolutely can fight against it. You can resist the steady decline of age. You absolutely can. Okay? And that's again what I'm going to talk with you today about. Here's an example. Alright, here's an example. Martha is 79 years young. A lot of you guys know Martha. She has a lot of grandkids, even more great-grandkids, and even a couple great-great-grandkids. She's a legend around these parts. Okay, she's been around for a long, long time. A couple weeks ago, she took a fall. fearful that the next fall might be the big one. Here's what happened with Martha, however. She went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "You are lucky that this was not a more serious injury." Again, I want to tell you that I don't think it was luck. Okay? And here's another thing. It wasn't genetics. It wasn't good genes that protected her. It was small, consistent, and very, very intentional movements over a long period of time that prepared her to not only withstand the fall, but more importantly, get back up. And the only thing that happened with Martha is a small little fracture on her hand. Look at this, she waved her hand right there. Showed off. Okay? Alright? And so, here's the thing. There is something, though, that is a constant, that has been impacting you and weighing you down since the day you were born. Can anyone guess what that is? Who has a loud, oh!
Traction.
This is in the front. Say it again.
Gravity!
That's right, gravity. Right? Gravity is pushing you down. It's causing us to age. That's a lot okay. And gravity at 9.2 meters per second, which is a constant, is holding us down. If we don't fight against it, gravity will win. We are losing muscle as we age. We talked about that. If we lose muscle and gravity wins and we don't fight against it, then what happens is we lose muscle, our bones start to get stiff because the joints start to ache. Following me? Once we lose muscle and then our bones start to get stiff and our joints start to ache, then our balance starts to go. We weaken our balance systems. And today I want to talk with you about what we can do to fight against that. Because if gravity's constantly fighting and pushing us down, what is it that we can do to push against it, to resist it? Okay? Here's the secret. It's not complex, complicated exercises. It's not. It's consistency over a long period of time with specific movements that match your daily life. Okay? That match your daily life. That's why here at Freedom we do have 12 movements that we have standardized. Okay? This is 2 of the movements that we push for. And we're going to talk about these in depth here in a little bit. Okay? We're going to talk about these in depth. But the one thing that I want to tell you here is 2 things. Number 1, it doesn't have to be complicated. And number 2, it does have to be something that you're reaching for. Okay? What we've done here, what we do within our movements is we set standards. Now some of these standards you might not ever get in your whole entire life. And that's okay. It's the idea of training yourself and specifically going 1 rep, 1 rep, 1 pound, 1 pound. Consistently over a long period of time, that's going to allow for you to have success. Okay? And again, the idea of improving balance, improving strength is not complicated movements, it's consistency. Now, some of you guys are looking at the deadlift here, Gary, and you might be thinking that strength training is dangerous for adults. Raise your hand if you've ever heard this. Has anyone ever heard this or taught this? Anyone at all? No one's ever heard that? A couple people. Thank you. All the PTs in the back. This is a myth. Strength training is not dangerous as we get older. It is not. In fact, it's the opposite. It's the safest way to prevent falls. The stronger you are, guess what? The less likely you are to fall. Okay? Strength training inside of here sets you up for life outside of there. And again, it's not even just the fall that's about to happen, it's whether or not you get back up. Another one. This one might be a little bit more true. Once you lose your balance, it's gone. You guys ever heard that? It's gone, right? You start to feel it, you start to fade, you start to lose it, you're never going to get it back. That's not true. Definitely not true. It is trainable. And you can fix it. You absolutely can fix it. So what is balance? When we talk about balance, coordination, stability, what is it? It's a combination of three things. Balance is strength, which we've talked about, and I'll talk more about here in the next slide. But it's also stability. It's a slippery slope as we age. Right? We talked about gravity. We talked about the loss of muscle. We talked about joint stiffening. As joints stiffen, then we get less functional. As we get less functional, then we get less independent. As we get less independent, then we get more fearful. Right? We get more fearful to do things. And whether you believe it or not, you start making business decisions. Do I want to do that? Do I want to go there? Do I want to help with the grandkids? You have to start relaying in your brain, how far do I want to go to challenge myself and take the chance? Right? Stability, very much an I thing. There are three things that help us balance. Yes. Eyes, inner ear, and then our joints. Right? Strength, we've talked about that. We're going to talk about it again. Okay? If we get weaker, right? Our bones get stiffer, that's a strength thing. Right? If that continues to happen, then what happens? Metabolic disease. We'll talk about that on the next slide. When we get metabolic disease, such as diabetes, our eyes tend to go first, our ability to see. Once we can't see very well, then it's hard to be stable. I'm going to show that to you in just a second. Okay, awareness is another one. Alright? I don't see Don Coleman in here. I didn't really ask him. I can talk about it. Yes, Don! My man! Don here. Okay? When Don came over from physical therapy, I'm sorry to clear this with you, but this is okay. When Don came over from physical therapy, he was over there working on his stability, his balance. When he came over here, one of the things that we did was we always had a spy on Don. Okay? Whether it was the coach, whether it was the Freedom Care team, whether it was an intern, we were always staying a little bit close to Don because Don wasn't entirely aware of the surroundings. Sometimes there'd be a dumbbell on the ground or a box on the ground or kettlebells. These guys right here were about Don's head height. Okay? And for the first couple weeks, it very much was a holy smokes. That's gonna happen. Right? And there was a couple times, Don, we caught you, bud, right? But guess what happened? Over time, he put himself into an uncomfortable environment. Now, nobody doesn't have to watch Don anymore. He is aware of his surroundings. Okay? Because he challenged himself, put himself into the environment that caused him to have to be aware. And as he progressed, he learned, oh, there's dumbbells on the ground. There's kettlebells around. Oh, there's boxes. Oh, I might hit my head on that. And because of that, he was able to improve his coordination, reduce his risk of falls, because he actually challenged himself and put himself in that environment. Okay? That's another thing. Maybe it's not a gym environment that you might challenge yourself, but you know what? My house, crazy. You walk in my house, good chance to slip on a monster truck. Alright? You don't slip on a monster truck, you're definitely going to hit yourself with a softball. You know, my wife says I gotta go in the basement. Okay? So sometimes you might make a business decision, well, I'm not going to go to my grandkids' house because they haven't cleaned up yet. I would challenge them on that. Go in there in the mess, walk around, move around. Get yourself into an uncomfortable environment where you have to be aware of your surroundings. That make sense? One step, one step, one step. Okay, hopefully you guys have enough room. Because what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick little balance test. So stand up. It's kind of half mark. It's half mark, halfway, halfway. Since we're halfway through, we got to do a little bit of something.
Bring Sally up.
Alright. Coach Tobias said he wants to bring Sally up. So come on. Alright, okay. So what we're going to try to do, you got the table, or you got the chair in front of you. Go ahead and lift your left leg up. Once you lift that leg up, your muscles are speaking to your brain. Your brain is speaking to your muscles. You are challenging a system. That make sense? Okay, now put your leg running my row down, that's what I did. When we rely on, go ahead and have a seat. When we rely on one system, when you rely on one system and that system goes, what happens? Remember, our eyes is the number one thing that helps us stay stable. Got it? This is a challenge to you to not rely on one system. Alright? So, what are the other systems? We just talked about strength. How strong are you? Right? Awareness. How much have you subjected yourself to environments that create and cause you to be unstable? Those are really important things. Strength. Let's go into the depths of this. Strength is a slippery, sliding slope. Okay, we talked about that. I've said it a couple times. I'm going to say it again. We lose 1 to 3% if we don't fight against it. That's why strengthening is so important. Resistance training is so important. You lose that strength, muscle doesn't pull on the tendon doesn't pull on the bone. When we don't have that resistance, the bone starts to lose density. When we lose bone density, then we start to have lots of complications within our organs as well. Bone density has a lot of variables, and it impacts our lives greatly, more than we know. Even more than osteopenia and osteoporosis. Okay? If we continue to go down that path where we lose bone density, then you are even that much more scared of the next big one. Right? Terrified. So much so that you're moving out of California. Getting out of Dodge. Okay? So, what does strength do? Number 1, improves bone density. Number 2, it improves your metabolic rate. Metabolic rate, this is an interesting one. Metabolic rate is a direct correlation to your muscle mass within your body composition, and your fat mass. Right? When you have a higher percentage, a lot higher percentage, okay, of fat mass compared to muscle mass, because remember, we're losing muscle every year if we don't fight against it. Right? If we're losing that muscle mass and the fat mass is going up, the ratio is changing. When the ratio changes, our metabolic rate changes. Metabolic rate is, again, simply the engine of your body. When your metabolic changes, then it slows down. So every calorie that you take in, right, it's hard to burn that calorie. It's hard to burn that energy. So what does that do? It stores more as fat than it does as lean mass. Okay, does that make sense? You guys follow metabolic rate? When our metabolic rate changes so drastically, and now again, there's a lot that goes into metabolic change. Some of you guys have learned a lot about it, and you guys can talk with me about it. Okay? When the metabolic rate changes so drastically, then what happens is metabolic disease. Metabolic disease, there's 4 of them, really. And again, some of these four metabolic diseases are things that we can work against. Now, there are some diseases that are a lot harder to work against, right, that affect the eyes. But one of them that I touched on earlier, a metabolic disease, is diabetes. When our blood sugars get high, the insulin can't pull the sugar into the cell, then our eyes start to go. Remember, we can't rely on one system. We can't rely on one system. Got it? So once the eyes start to go, slippery slope. That makes sense? So that's just an example of a metabolic rate, metabolic disease. Increase your lean mass, increase your muscle by creating resistance, decrease your likelihood of metabolic disease. Got it? Again, do you have to do complicated workouts? No. You have to do life-giving movements consistently over a long period of time. Okay? Sound good? Alright. When this happens, here's a really cool part. When this happens, you're no longer afraid. You're excited to go on vacations. You're looking forward to those trips where you're going to actually have to walk and move and go on cobblestone roads. Right? You're going to be excited to get down and change your grandkids' diapers. Those are the things that you get. Except for and again, the biggest thing with regards to that is this. Michael Greta, she's not here right now. She's a perfect example of this. Okay? Not doing complicated workouts. She's doing real life things consistently. Because of that, the last time she went to the beach, she was jumping in the waves with her grandkids, carrying them, picking up, moving, not being afraid, not worried about what would happen if she were to fall. So, the reason why you guys are all here, I just want to give you the 3 most specific, simple movements that you can do to help stave what we've been talking about. To increase your strength, increase your stability, which therefore would obviously help with your overall balance. Okay? We've been saying that it's not complicated. Let's keep it simple. But there's probably some of you that are like, I still have no idea where to start. I don't even know what to do. Okay? Literature suggests that if you can, get yourself in a squatting position. Up and down. Simply from a chair. Up and down. That will improve, obviously, hip mobility. It will increase hip strength. It will increase your ability to pick something up. If you're able to pick something up, then you can move on to the carry. It will improve grip strength. Okay? Grip strength is a comorbidity. If you lose that, likelihood of death is way high. I know you guys know that. Okay? So we start with a squat. You just sit to stand from your chair. Set a timer. Every hour, 10 squats. Sit down, touch the chair. Some of you might be thinking, when I do squats, my knee blows up. Right? My back starts to hurt. So I can't do repetitions of that. If I do 5, 6, 7 of those, my knee's blown up and I'm in trouble. If that's you, there are professionals to help you. Okay? They're all lined up on the back right there. They're all over the city. Right? They're all over the city, and they want to help you. They went to school for a really, really long time to learn the ins and outs of the body, to help stair-step you and walk you through some of those pathologies. Okay? Got it? So if that's you, and you're like, man, I can't even do that, that's okay. There's professionals to help you with that. If you're able to do it, start little and start to build up. Grab a bag of flour. Hold the bag of flour. Right? Grab a grandchild. Start to grab a grandchild. Go heavier. Grab a water bottle, a case of milk. Okay? Not a case of milk. No, a gallon of milk. A gallon of milk. Okay? Case of milk. Back to 89. They still have gallons of milk, guys. Grab something. Just make it heavier and heavier and heavier as you continue to progressively overload. Slowly start to build it up. Got it? The next one is carrying. When you carry something, you want to grab anything and everything that you can, hold on to it down by your side, and just start to walk. Start to move while holding weight. Take yourself outside. Get onto a path. Right? Potentially where there's an environment where you can trip and fall. But hold on to something. Okay? If you're holding on to something and you're going out for a walk, it's super important that you swing your arms. Got it? We would rather see trunk rotation as we walk and move than to improve grip strength while you move. Okay? There's a lot of reasons for that. We won't go into that today. Alright? But carry something just for carry's sake, not for a walk's sake, unless you're going to swing your arms. Okay? Swing your arms when you walk and move. Then, you go from carrying something down by your side to carrying something in what we call a 90-degree angle. You hold it up in front of your head. Carry it in front of you. Then we go from that to overhead. Carry it over your head. So we start off something simple, nice and easy, to something a little bit harder. It's a little bit harder to stabilize. To something that's a little bit more difficult. Got it? So we've got our squats, we've got our carry, and then of course it's the ever needed push. In the event that you fall, one of the things that gets people in trouble is that they cannot get themselves back up. They don't have the strength in their triceps and their chest to push themselves up. Okay? It's probably easy for you to know that when you fall, you're going to crawl over to a chair. You're going to pull yourself up onto a chair, and then you're going to push yourself up to stand up. Right? We all know that. Get to something that can allow for you to help push yourself up. But before you get there, let's be prepared for that. Let's start by pushing daily on something. If you need to go to a wall, that's what it says right here, push against the wall. Simply start with pushing against the wall. Get yourself here. Just try to push. 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 Then from there, from the wall, then you go to a countertop. Push on the countertop. From the countertop, then we go down to the table. Table to chair, chair to a coffee table, coffee table down eventually to the floor. Start on your knees, press, and then go to your feet and do a push-up. Okay? Not complicated, not rocket science, just slow progressions over a long period of time. Again, the idea is to stay consistent. Stay consistent. When we improve our strength and fight against the decline, because again, it's declining. Gravity's winning. Unless you do something against it, which I just gave you 3 very simple movements to do against it. Fight against it, right? Not complicated. Okay? When you have balance and strength, you have freedom. That's the idea. Freedom to not be afraid, to not get out of Dodge, to not move out of California. Right? Freedom to make choices of going on vacations, things like that. Not being worried about the next big one. And to bring this full circle, in 1989, when I was out there, I do not ever remember being afraid, maybe because I was young and naive, possibly. But you know what else? I also was really confident in my dad. Right? Man, sorry. You actually see a picture of my dad right there, that'd be good. But when we think about protection and being prepared, that's what strength training does for us. Okay? Strength training prepares us for what might happen, and it will protect you. Strength training will protect you. Got it? That's the big idea. Alright? That's the big idea. And that's the full takeaway. So let's take a few seconds. Let's think about that. Is there any questions? This would be a great time. Hopefully you guys thought of some questions, and we can talk about them, even if you have specific types of questions with regards to balance and strength.
I keep saying a long time. What's a long time to you?
Till the day you die.
Okay. So, workout, or exercise, strength training.
Forever.
Forever.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's a very good question. The question was, I say a long time. Consistent movement over a long period of time. The question is how long? When am I strong enough to say I've done it and I'm good? The answer is you're not. Right? And the reason is because, again, aging, there's the decline. 1 to 3%. Right? Number 1. Number 2, we have history. We have decades and decades of history that have formulated into the people we are now, the bodies we have now. That makes sense? So if you're overcoming some back stuff, it's going to take you a little bit longer to be able to squat. If you're overcoming some knee stuff from some college sports or something like that, right, or a history of doing that, it's going to take you a little bit longer. But the reality is eventually you're going to start. Was that helpful?
Yes.
What do you feel about, I know you and I have talked a lot about neuromuscular pathways in balance and being able to establish those, like we talked about several times about squatting correctly. Would you elaborate on that some?
Yeah, so the question is really kind of more a physiological question of how muscles work. How do your muscles actually engage? How do they work? Does your brain play a part in it? And the answer is yes. That's why anytime that you start any type of strength training, the first couple times you do it should be very easy, nice and simple. Okay? The first 6 weeks, all the way up until the first 6 months of any type of resistance training that you do, though that's neuromuscular. That means that it's just your brain learning how to use the muscles. Right? After that 6 weeks of the brain learning how to use the muscles, then the muscles actually start to strengthen. Because the brain's ready, it's developed, those neural pathways have opened up, you've got some gains where you can see yourself lifting a little bit more, you feel better about things, then you go after the strength training. Does that help? Was that
I was more in the correct movement, how we...
Oh, the biomechanics of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes further into that, right? If you've been compensating your whole life for a bum knee, and you're going off of that knee and you're leaning over to one side, you are going to compensate using specific muscles. When you compensate using those specific muscles, that's your brain, the neural pathway, compensating so that you can do the movement. Right? Now, those compensatory strategies can be looked at 2 different ways. Number 1, it can be looked at as a positive. Right? Your body is so smart that it was able to cheat yourself into moving well. Praise God for that. That's awesome, right? Now, if that strategy causes wear and tear of something else, that it's gonna catch up to you. Okay? So, yes, brain, neural pathways, correct biomechanics, all that plays into it. Now, those are things though to not be worried about when you're needing to get a jump start on strength training. It's really not, okay? Get yourself squatting, get yourself moving. In the event that something pops up, okay? Right? Something starts to hurt. The worst thing you can do is quit. The worst thing you can do is quit. Now, reality is, second worst thing you can do, just keep going and hurt yourself worse. Got it? But again, going back to the professionals, there are professionals that are right there willing to help walk you through it. Okay? And you'll know. You'll know. As we get older, we get wiser, we get smarter. We know when we need to call for help. Stephanie.
Yes, I get the strength part of it.
Yeah.
And the balance, from what I understand, balance is a three-legged stool. It's your ears,
Yep.
your eyes,
Yep.
and your brain.
Yes, proprioception. That's right.
And so if you don't have the neuroplasticities between the brain and the inner ear,
Yeah.
then you have balance issues.
That's right.
And so, does this training that you're talking about,
Yeah.
does it help build the neural pathways from the brain to the inner ear? And if it does, then how do you get it there? Because I've been working for 8 years. I can't
Yeah.
seem to get it there.
Here's the response. Keep going. Right? Again, kind of like the earthquake, you have two options. You can stop, run away, and move, or you can continue to prepare for what might happen. Does that make sense? And you don't know what you don't know. Going back to Martha. Martha didn't know she was going to fall. And when she fell, she didn't know what the outcome was. Right? But she consistently showed up. Day after day after day, got stronger and stronger and stronger. And then she fell, and the result was a broken arm. Is that what's happening?
But I don't have the freedom because I'm afraid I'm going to fall all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have to double step. I have to watch when I walk outside. I have to get down the
Yeah, the ramp. So,
not the ramp, but
the curb.
But the curb.
Yep.
I have to hang on to something just to get down the curb, or else I fall.
Yeah, and again,
It's
those
so
are realities.
Huh?
Those are realities of life. Sometimes that is the case, right? And now, when we have those situations and we're afraid to fall all the time, the reality is you've got to continue to fight against it. Just day after day after day. Your reaction time slows down. Of course, when we have traumatic brain injuries, things like that, there's lots of pathologies and diseases that can impact our overall balance. They very well can, right? But again, the choice that you have is to give up or move on. That's the idea. Consistently move on. And more often than not, and this is where it is really important, more often than not, the reason why we have balance issues is not because of very outlandish diseases, right, or traumatic brain injuries. 90% of the time, it's because of consistent choices over a long period of time that have created normal aging processes. Now, if that's not the case and that's not you, you know who you are, and you're working with a professional to help with that. Does that make sense? Right? Hopefully that's helpful. And you know Steph.
I got to put up with that one that long.
Yeah.
How much longer? I don't think I can survive it.
How would it be recommended every day or every other day or?
That's a great question. The question is volume. How often should I do it? And the answer is every single day. Yep, every single day you should be doing some form of lifelike movement. Reaching, twisting, bending, squatting, things like that. Okay? As soon as our lives get to be away from that, sedentary life, the slippery slope happens faster. Right? Kind of goes back down to it. Best example I have, and I've been thinking a lot about this. My youngest son is 3 years old, and he's 90% potty trained.
Russian or?
90% body trained. One of the things that I've consistently thought about though is when we change his diaper, I get all the way down on my knees and put my bottom on my heels, and I change his diaper on the ground. And I must do that 3, 4, 5 times a day. My wife probably did it 20 times a day, right? But now that he's potty trained, I knew that this day was going to come. When's the next time I'm going to do that? Why do I need to do that? I don't need to do that anymore. It's not a necessity. Does that make sense? So even though I did that till I was 40 years old, almost 41, from 40 to 60, I don't have to do that movement anymore.
Have another baby.
Yeah. At this point, I mean, it's up to you.
How about those Chiefs, huh?
Good thing I didn't wear my merch. But was that helpful? Was that helpful for you? And so again, our bodies adapt to the stress of flight, right? And the challenge that I have is stress your body with resistance, right? Continue to do that, and put yourself into uncomfortable environments that is going to challenge your awareness. You do that, your stability will improve. Your stability will improve. Okay? Now, it is important that you do it in the appropriate doses, right? It's not like you're just going to go throw yourself into Legoland where e-bikes are going around and, you know, especially if you're in the state. Okay, on your chair there, if you're not in physical therapy with us, okay, or already a group personal training member, I would love to meet with you, okay? We can talk about you specifically. It's hard to answer all the specific questions that you have about what you're going through, but that's one thing that I would love to do. God put me on this planet to help people get from where they are to where they should and could be physically, right? I have a passion for this generation. Okay, I have a very, very strong passion for this generation. Right, as we age, not only do we lose our independence, but we can start to lose our purpose. Okay, I think I got really emotional with my dad because I'm watching it. I'm watching it happen. And so when I meet with you, it's purposeful. It's intentional. Right? And I want to do that with you. So fill that little thing out. Alright, just fill it out, hand it to any one of these guys in the back that have a Freedom shirt on, and we'll contact you, we'll schedule a time to meet where you and I just talk about where you're at, what it is that you're doing, and where it is that you want to go. And we can answer more of those specific questions. Well, how much do I lift? What do I lift? Those types of questions, okay? If you're a little more tech savvy and you want to, you can scan that QR code, okay, fill out the form, like this. Or if you know, you just say, let's schedule this up. I want to meet with Allison and Mackenzie in the back, and they'll schedule your time right then, right there. Guys, this was our first workshop. Super thankful. The idea is to not take your entire night, but just to continue to educate and motivate, to continue to do the simple little things over and over and over and over again. Okay, sounds good. If you have any questions, ask them, come back, come ask me. Another thing too is we'll have another one of these in January. We are going to be talking a little bit more about nutrition, okay, diet, nutrition, things like that. So I will be setting up as best that I can to prepare to give you information about that, okay? Because again, when your metabolic rate changes, a lot of it is strength training, don't get me wrong, okay? But if you're adding strength training to your overall workload, but you're not changing your intake of energy or food, then what can happen is you can actually create a bigger tilt, right? So in your efforts to improve the metabolic rate, if you're not getting the energy you need, it can tilt, okay? Hence the DEXA scans, for those of you guys who have them. Hence the video about the protein intake when you guys work out. It's all super important, okay? All right, any more questions? Okay, careful with the rain on the way out. Jake, Hockey just got started, so you guys are all right.